painful last few weeks.
You are a member of Sea Sprain. I get it.
Oh gosh,
You are a member of
it's
Sea
just been a
Sprain.
stressful last few weeks for me.
Oh no, it's been that for the entire fucking country.
Well, this is a happy time. We're gonna read about video games because we need to fill our whole void in our lives.
Void in. All right, yeah.
Void.
Luckily we're all white.
Yeah.
Savior, is there something you want to tell us now?
Oh, right. So today's episode of Storytime with Scrappy is actually a fan fiction that I recommended to him called "Local Man Finds His Arcade Turbo-tastic." It is a Wreck-It Ralph fan fiction by Cadavatar, and the description reads, "Mr. Litwack isn't stupid. He knows more than most would think." And interestingly enough, the fan fiction was published like 3 days after the movie initially came out.
That's pretty crazy.
So this guy works rather fast.
Oh, just make us all jealous, why don't you?
Dang.
I wish I could work quickly.
Yeah, so
And with that, we are at episode 7 of Storytime with Scrappy. Hello, kids. I'm Scrappy Fan 92, and I have not slept properly. With us today is our active camera person Harry.
Yeah, I'm still here. Here now and forever, I guess.
Yeah.
Tanner's here.
Sup?
Hello.
I'm the guy holding the gun to Harry's head.
And Xavier is here because he's the one who recommended the story.
Yep.
Hello.
For context, Wreck-It Ralph is a Disney movie in a Disney animated canon. It came out in 2012, as Xavier kind of alluded to, and it is basically about a video game villain trying to not be a video game villain.
Yeah, basically.
It's great.
It's a really good movie, yeah.
It's really good. The less we talk about the sequel, the better.
I still haven't seen it.
The sequel just kind of happens.
Yeah. Ralph is really flanderized in the sequel, I feel.
Yeah.
I don't remember him being that much of an asshole in the first movie.
I'll watch it. I'll finish watching it eventually. This has 440 reviews. I can't even get 10 reviews on my story.
This is this fanfic was made to make us all feel inferior. It gets published quickly. It gets a bunch of reviews.
I mean, I think it helps that it was published like a few days after the movie came out, so like it was fresh in people's minds. Yeah, it was fresh in people's minds.
I mean, in fairness, I guess like with what I write, I could get a sizable audience because at the very least, it is based off of something relatively popular. Deadpool's popular, whatever.
Yeah.
Plus, that might actually be becoming an animated series. I have no idea, though. We're definitely writing up a pilot, though.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yep. I don't know what will become of this project.
So, Xavier, how did you find this story?
I actually, if I recall correctly, like I ended up finding out about this story back like when I was like reading up on TV tropes a few years back when the movie was still relevant. I was curious and looked into fanfic recommendations. Among among a few ones that piqued my interest, including like including a shipping fic between Ralph and Vanellope, but she's grown up in this one. So before you say anything, she's grown up in this. Yeah, but before you say anything, but yeah, like I ended up finding this one, and it was actually really good. And and it's been years since I last read it, so like I actually skimmed through it recently and before we did this, and I ended up finding out that the writer ended up making a bonus chapter, which ended up making a bonus chapter. I don't think it's part of like really part of like the main thing. I think it just did it just because the last time this story was updated was March 8th of 2013.
Yeah, safe to say it's probably dead then.
Yeah, so that's probably definitely done. So yeah, I ended up finding out about this, and then like a few weeks ago, I actually ended up rewatching the movie with Nick and Jason because we and then I just brought this up and I figured, hey, this would be good for a story time with Scrappy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, because we had only so many other stories on deck.
This is when I come in with 17 different Deadpool stories.
Yeah, and I have the problem of never remembering the names of the things I read.
The thing is, if you did challenge me, I probably could come up with like 80 premises for stories. I'm way better at coming up with premises than actually writing shit.
Mm.
Cause all right. So anyway, I've talked about my own stuff enough.
My apologies, dogs are barking.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, well, yeah, obviously spoilers for the first and at the time only Wreck-It Ralph film. You have been warned.
Mm-hmm. And don't worry about having seen the second one. You don't need to. Two, I'd warn you about seeing the second one anyways.
You know, you say this, but my brother liked it more than the original, so it's like I'm gonna wind up wandering into it anyways.
Gross.
Yeah, because I mean, like you can definitely watch the second movie, but the first one will always be the one that holds up much better.
The only times I can think of, like, some sequels are better than the first. I think Toy Story 2 is actually better than the
Toy
first
Story
one.
2, yeah, Toy Story 2 is my favorite of the those films.
Shrek I'd put in that same category.
Yeah, Shrek 2 is the best.
Deadpool 2, definitely I like a lot better than Deadpool 1.
Mm.
Do you know they attempted to make a sequel to Airplane, and it was really bad? Welcome to Tanner sends things off the rails and keeps changing topics every 14 seconds.
We're still making better time than than episode 4, honestly. Okay, so local man finds his arcade turbo-tastic, and I've been going through like the comments. I've been going through episode 4's audio, and the first word of the sentence I seem to speak just cuts out.
Yeah, you're cutting out real bad right now.
Yeah, it's
You jinxed it, my man. You jinxed it, my friend.
You know what's hilarious is the fact that everything's fine when we're just talking casually, but as soon as we start talking about the story itself, it just craps out.
You're so cursed.
What the hell?
Shells by the splits. That sound alright?
You're still
no.
cracking up a bit. It was a great start, everyone. Welcome to This is just every episode. Honestly, if our audio improves, it's not gonna feel right. Yeah, we're gonna have to go back and make sure that our audio is shittier in later episodes.
Oh, Lord.
Alright, let's attempt to begin.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh, gosh. Oh yeah, by the way, we're not doing a Love Live story right now because we don't have the crew for it.
Yeah, that's why that's partially why we're doing this instead.
Get that weeb shit out of here. God, I
Says
like
the man about the story with Japanese video game characters in it.
I was about to say I sound like a fucking Silva Gunner commenter.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, let me do my impression of a Silva Gunner fan. This is better than most modern rap. Fuck off, it's meme music. Don't take it seriously as anything other than meme music. It's meant to be a joke.
Yeah.
Alright.
Beginning the story. Excuse me. If Stanley D. Litwack knew what he was getting into when he bought his first arcade machine in 1977, he honestly couldn't say whether he would have done anything differently. Oh gosh. My apologies, my dog.
That's cool.
He honestly couldn't say whether he would have done anything differently. He might have bought Astro Race rather than Pong, but that was an easy mistake for a rookie to make. When he first started out, his arcade was just a couple of pinball machines, Pong, and Breakout that he managed to convince the old woman running the town's roller rink to keep in the sideline when the skaters got tired and bored. Excuse me, my mother's calling.
I'll go get water. I'll go refill my water real quick. While I can still sneak off and do that.
My mother had come back and the dogs were set off. So quality is our standard here. My audio seems to be not well. Anyone hear me?
Yep.
Tanner?
Yeah, it seems to be like fine usually, and then like just randomly hiccups every now and then.
We are cursed.
Yeah, like I said earlier, like as soon as we start doing the actual story, it just dies.
Tanner, you alright?
He went to get some water.
Okay. Should we wait for him, or do you want us to continue?
I'm fine with whatever.
Okay.
My throat's good.
Alright, everyone's here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Seems so.
Let's see, I'm gonna do my audio test. Fuck you, Baltimore!
Hmm.
There you go.
Test!
Oh, yep.
Test,
Okay.
Johnny, test.
I still can't believe that series is getting a reboot.
2020 has been a very miraculous year.
You and me need to make that a thing where we just try to include as many references to Johnny Test as we possibly can. Just work it in, even if there's no, like, context, or barely any context.
Yeah.
Alright.
You may try, but good luck.
Alright.
Okay, let's just start from the beginning.
Yes.
This is a prelude to some nonsense, I just can feel it.
Oh, yeah. And then you just hear, right before you start,
There we go. If Stanley D. Litwack knew what he was getting into when he bought his first arcade machine in 1977, he honestly couldn't say whether he would have done anything differently. He might have bought Astro Race rather than Pong, but that was an easy mistake for a rookie to make. When he first started out, his arcade was just a couple of pinball machines, Pong, and Breakout that he managed to convince the old woman running the town's roller rink keep in the sideline for when the skaters got tired and bored. He wasn't sure what he was trying to accomplish. Maybe he was trying to prove something to the boys from his high school who went on to college, leaving him in the dust after years of dunking his head in a toilet bowl.
Aww.
Maybe he was hoping it'd bring him some quick money so he could help his grandmother pay for things around the house. Maybe it was so she'd finally stop calling him Maybe it was so she'd finally stop calling him Cuckoo, a name he hated with a passion reserved for crying children and small dogs. Stanley Litwack had been raised by his Nana for as long as he could remember, and she was getting on in years. It was time he took the reins and helped them both, like she did when his parents died. He wasn't expecting much from his business venture. $10 every couple of weeks, give or take a few quarters. He had been a kid that had loved video games. He got his first pinball machine when a gas station closed and the owner just gave it to him. He played it so much. But he couldn't think of anyone else who would enjoy video games as much as he did. Heck, Breakout wasn't even his to begin with. He just found someone who was willing to split the profit with him if he could find a place to put the damn thing. Arcades were for geeks and losers. That was all. But he started noticing, during his long shifts at the concession stand, that his machines were getting more and more popular. Kids would come in and go straight to them. They wouldn't even skate at all. Pong was a hit. And at the end of the week, when he pulled a quarter tray out of the machine, he couldn't believe his eyes. He brought his revenue home and counted it all 3 times just to be sure. $103.25. 1978 brought him his own building. 1980 moved him to a new one. Galaxian, Asteroids, and Pac-Man were his biggest sellers before he plugged in Turbo Time. And then he realized that Litwack's Family Fun Center, because arcade was, admittedly, a word that even the shrewdest of nerds shied away from, was going to be in it for a long haul. Eventually, he just put the word arcade under his name, but in the beginning, he was certain that he'd fail. He had always failed. Gym, biology, Spanish, even home economics. All his life, he'd just been one big failure leading up to another, so he was tentative at first. All his bills were paid on time. All his games were kept in the best condition. Every night he'd Windex fingerprints off of the screen, pull out the quarters, check the wires, and make sure everything was locked up tighter than a maximum security prison before he'd pedal home on his bike to count up his change and painstakingly etch it into his ledger. Did you say something, Tanner?
No. I think I accidentally rubbed my mic a little against my chin. Because I have a sock over my mic and I got a little water on my mouth, and I decided, well, I got a sock on my mic, so why not? But I realized, oh, that probably just sounds like this to you.
Like an actual sock?
Yeah.
Maybe I should do that.
It's good because if you're not in a space where you can like be near a pop filter.
We will discuss this in time. If he had to sit and pick a year, his year would have been 1982. He was 25 years old and had already moved his Nana into a new house. He had a car. Not a nice car, not a new car, but a car of his own. The paper interviewed him and put his picture on the front page. He still had it lamented. He still had it laminated in a frame above his desk. Him leaning on the side of Turbo Time and smiling with a thumbs up. The main character scrolling across the screen and mirroring his gesture with a word balloon above his head that read in loud capital letters, Turbotastic! Fix-It Felix Jr. was a mistake. A happy mistake, but still a mistake nonetheless. The machine rolled in off of the big moving truck and was lined up between Dig Dug, Hubert, in pole position. The men were just about to leave when he flagged them down.
I ordered these 3 machines. I don't remember exactly what he sounds like, but I'm rolling off of it.
He informed them, pointing to the second from the end. The 2 men conferred over their clipboard for a moment before nodding to another, one of them tipping his... Sorry about that. Last arcade didn't want it. It's not too popular. Had to refund them.
Oh.
Litwack muttered, looking at the machine.
What are you gonna do with it?
Probably take it back to the factory. Came out at the beginning of the year. It's kind of a dud. Hence why it's so cheap. I suppose they'll pull it apart for replacement parts and send it off to the arcades that need them. People told Litwack over the years, and would tell him for many more, that machines were just machines. They had no feelings, no life. You plug them in and their code would go on, and doing the same thing over and over until something broke. But Litwack felt a twinge of feeling for the poor machine, and he looked at the driver before jerking a thumb to it.
It'll take time. I'll take it then. It'll be a nice space filler between Pac-Man and Turbo Time. Give the kids something to do while they're waiting. I don't remember if he has an accent, so I'm sorry to all the Wreck-It Ralph fans of upset in the audience. I'm also sorry to all 4 people in our audience in general.
Don't worry, Tim.
Sassy
Still
tonight.
will come eventually.
God, I am fucking as hell tonight.
Are you okay? It's alright. He gets more audience members when he's not streaming this. Not Zelda, just my show.
Yeah, I'm fine, I guess.
I don't know why I'm particularly, like, today of all days, I'm just particularly, I guess, shit-talky.
I have those days, and they're just the weirdest things.
Yeah. Alright.
Harry works very hard to maintain my audience. Our audience.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Honestly, this episode's going pretty well. Better than a lot of the ones we've done.
He says as my audio's cut out several times previously.
Well, baby
It's
steps.
all relative.
Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. Anyway. The games would... Yeah, for Pete's sake. The games would change out of course. Pong's screen failed, and he had to take the... my gosh. Pong's screen failed, and he had to take the poor console away. Asteroid had a... my goodness. Asteroid had a massive circuit failure and almost caught fire. But he'd never forget the day where 2 teenage boys shrieked and claimed one of his games was possessed. He'd walk up to the console and find himself staring at a glitch of Turbo right in the middle of his Turbotastic yell. But he was in a console that wasn't his. He stared at it for a long time. 5 minutes he'd estimate. The kids gathered around him and stared too, enraptured, before a little girl finally took his hand, pulling on it to get his attention.
Mr. Litwack, why is Turbo being so scary?
Thank you, Xavier.
You're welcome.
He unplugged the machine in a heartbeat. Both of them.
Dud game.
His friends would tell him over the phone.
Oh, that was not me. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a universe where everyone is Mr. Litwack. Into the Litwack verse.
Yeah. Dud Game. His friends would tell him over the phone. Sometimes you get them. Suppliers are cheap scam artists. They don't like their own games, and then when you complain, they'll say it's your fault. I swear, some of them make them that way on purpose. Pray it doesn't happen to you again, Litwack. And it didn't. He played it safe with Whack-A-Mole for a few months before finally buying Tapper. And while a few games would sometimes go out of order for a day or two, they never stayed that way for longer than a day. If he had to pinpoint a time when he was certain that he was going insane, it'd have to be around 1992. He installed video cameras in the arcade after he'd found that Q*bert had been vandalized to the point... He installed video cameras in the arcade after he'd found that Q*bert had been vandalized to the point of having to be unplugged. And while he wouldn't check them until it was necessary, there was a time when he was watching a tape to see who started the fight when he noticed something odd. There, in the corner of the screen, he could catch the screen of Street Fighter II. He didn't really suspect anything until he noticed the characters stop what they were doing and begin watching the kids that gathered around the fight. He blinked and paused the tape, wiping off his glasses, before rewinding and looking it over again. He found that he could pinpoint the time that the two of them stopped what they were doing and began to wave enthusiastically at the crowd of kids, as if urging them on. And now I'm just imagining Ryu and Ken stopping that car destruction minigame just to look at the fight in real life.
Yeah.
For a while, Litwack thought he was going crazy, but he still found himself sitting and watching. The night footage from the arcade showed characters sitting at the bar of Tapper, having a cold one after a long day of work. He found them sitting in the background of Street Fighter, cheering on matches. There he was, 35 years old, and he was going insane. But it gave him a whole new perspective on his arcade, and a whole new set of problems to keep him up at night. What happened to the games when they were unplugged? What happened to the characters when he moved the consoles from one port to the other? He toyed with the thoughts before he fell asleep that night, dreaming of the day when Turbotastic became a nightmarish word. Suddenly, he was doing strange things, announcing loudly the day before a game was moving positions that he'd be moving it. In 1998, he had to buy a new surge protector, and he systematically moved games to it one at a time. He didn't know what he was doing, only that he felt a strange sense of obligation. Was that it? His games were his life. His games were the reason his nana didn't have to live in a retirement home before the age of 80. His games were the reason his old classmates came back to apologize to him. His games were the reason he got up in the morning. The least he could do was protect them. He would never unplug a game straight out. He'd always give them a day, so at least when they were out of order, they could go somewhere, anywhere, if they did. It sounded stupid, but after seeing Q*bert and his friends in Tapper one night in 2001, he wondered if any of them really ever left. And he wondered, gosh, did he wonder, what exactly happened to Turbo?
Maybe some kind of bonus character? Maybe a glitch.
That was what his friend said.
Very inconsistent, by the way. I apologize.
It's fine, but yeah, that wasn't Litwack speaking. My bad.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine. That was what his friend said about King Candy, the character that never seemed to leave the Sugar Rush screen. No one else who had the game had ever unlocked him. He even went so far as to contact the company, who had a representative call him. No, Mr. Litwack, the only royal character in the game is Vanellope von Schweet.
That's fine. I was gonna do the voice, but you could do the voice. That's fine.
Go ahead, Xavier.
Anyways, like, no, Mr. Litwack, the only royal character in the game is Vanellope von Schweetz.
No, see, that's the thing. I've never seen this racer. Just King Candy.
Have you tried unplugging the machine and plugging it back in?
He was silent for a moment.
No, I suppose I could.
Give it a try. If it doesn't work, we'd be happy to supply with an upgrade to your machine.
He wasn't sure how many days it took. For Pete's sake. He wasn't sure how many days it took for Mr. Litwack to decide to just leave Sugar Rush alone. But he was getting old. 2004 marked his 47th birthday, and he just didn't have the heart to try it. Maybe if he was younger, rasher, he'd have given it the old college try, but he knew the things he knew, and so he didn't. He just locked up at the end of the day and moved on. He had other things to worry about. 2006 marked the first time that Mr. Litwack didn't open for 3 days straight, after his Nana finally passed away at the age of 95.
I'm sorry. I love you, Nana. I'm sorry that I never amounted to anything great, like you hoped I would.
He mumbled, holding her hand tightly. The old bird just smiled. The old bird just smiled at him and patted his hand, quiet as a mouse. Oh, gosh. Stanley Daniel Litwack, she whispered, and he looked up at her face. She smiled, her thin lips stretched tight. You have made me so proud.
Really?
He asked, tears forming in his eyes. You kept children off the streets, Stanley. You gave them a home away from home. You kept them safe, dry, and warm. You kept them from getting hit by cars, or joining gangs, or from being bullied. And that makes me so proud of you.
I always thought I was cuckoo, Nana.
He laughed, and she laughed too, her voice hoarse. I'm cuckoo too, Stanley, or we're all just a little cuckoo. Those were the last words she ever said to him. She'd pass away later that night, and he would hold her hand until the very end.
Have you ever thought of retiring Fix-It Felix Jr., Stan?
One of the old-timers asked him as Mr. Litwack served him a Coke a few years later. He had kept things in order until then. People would ask him, "How are things?" And he'd chime.
Oh, sorry. Same as it ever was.
In return.
Same as it ever was.
Thank you. In return. He liked running things as smooth as possible. Getting hero's duty wedged in was his bit of excitement for the year.
I mean, how long have you had that old thing?
30 years on Friday.
Litwack said without a hint of hesitation.
And I can't say that I've ever thought of it. I love old Felix. Always gets the job done.
He chuckled, polishing off the counter.
Bought them as a spacer in 1982. Can you believe it? Him and Ralph have been doing the same old thing for nigh on 30 years.
Ralph?
The man asked, eyebrows knitting together.
Oh yeah, you know, the I'm gonna wreck it! Without him, there's no game.
Oh, the red guy. Well, let me know if you ever consider it. I might buy it off you. You've got my number.
Litwack watched him go with a for Pete's sake. Okay, dog's barking, gonna mute. Can you all hear my dogs, or am I just paranoid?
I can't hear them.
Alright then, and my mic is actually really great, thanks Harry. Unironically, thank you Harry for the mic.
Oh right, I forgot I sent it to you.
Yes, on this show we support our friends.
Yeah.
And you viewer can support us with your like and comments.
And you too can support us with your like and comments. Make sure to donate to my Patreon for so that I can regather all the Beanie Babies from the 90s and make my throne out of Beanie Babies.
Is that a bit, or is that something you just came up with?
That is something I just came up with right now. That is
That's
not
amazing.
something. Though, see, Tanner Brown, master improviser. Watch my dubs that might not be uploaded. Tanner Brown, master improviser, master comedian, master of puppets, master of I fucking hate Little Caesars. That has nothing to do with anything. I just hate Little Caesars.
Oh god.
Beanie Babies. Okay.
Remember that shit?
Yeah, I've never really stopped.
No, I know a content creator who's like obsessed with Beanie Babies, so.
Alright.
We're gonna read a Beanie Babies fanfiction next time.
What
I know it exists.
What would that even be?
It would be about me being the villain. It turns out that I've been hiding all the Beanie Babies in the world. Also, why the fuck is Stalin trending on Twitter?
That is a good question.
I'm sure there's a reasonable answer that leads to someone messing up on Twitter.
Alrighty, what did he do and why do we need to cancel him?
Oh lord.
Well, you see, it all started back in 1917.
Yeah, it all started back with... What? There are several things we can cancel Stalin for.
Oh dear.
Alright.
Oh, the red guy. Well, let me know if you ever consider it. I might buy it off you. You've got my number. Litwack watched him go with a slight frown.
Yeah. The red guy.
He huffed, going back to polishing his counter with fervor. He figured that he wouldn't think about Felix and Ralph again until a month or so down the line, when it came time to switch game console positions again. He couldn't remember if he ever moved the console, actually. He supposed the floor under it could use a good vacuuming. But it was Saturday when he heard the fateful call.
Mr. Litwack!
He knew that sigh. That was the, my game is screwing up and I'm sorry to bother you, but today just isn't my day sigh. He looked over and that was what, oh my god. He looked over and that was when he saw it. The blonde girl standing in front of Fix-It Felix Jr., a sad look on her face. He didn't want Ralph to go away, and as he took that sign up on the console, he felt like something was wrong. He hadn't seen a game act like that in years. Broken screens, yes. Gum in the quarter slots, not a problem. Gross.
Ugh.
But the characters running around and screaming, that was new, even for him. He hadn't seen a game act anything nearly as crazy as that since Turbo-tastic! He'd look at the footage. There was Ralph the night before, leaving Pac-Man. There he was again in Tapper. But then he just disappeared. He wondered if the little blonde girl could have done something to the machine. Maybe shaken it too hard and stirred them up. He zoomed forward and caught her walking in, getting brushed off from Sugar Rush. Those boys again? He'd have a word with them later. And then going to Hero's Duty. But then he stopped, paused, and rewound. There, looking into her screen. What was that? He zoomed in and blinked, adjusting his glasses.
Ralph, what are you doing?
He asked, sitting back and trying to think. Grabbing his coat, he hopped in his old car. Waste not, want not. It was the same old bird from the 80s. And putted on down to the arcade, locking it as the semis blew by on the overpass. He unlocked the door and stepped in, giving the games time to hide as he pretended to get confounded by the lock. The sign on Fix-It Felix... Oh, gosh. The sign on Fix-It Felix Jr. had tape on the corner that had come loose, and he moved to fix it, passing Sugar Rush to do so. Turbo-tastic! At first he thought it was some kind of nightmare, a lucid dream that snuck up on him in his sleep, but he stopped and turned, and realized that every single game screen had frozen in place. He didn't want to know. He didn't want to know what had happened. He just took his keys and left again, locking the door behind him. He was awake until 4 in the morning before he finally passed out, where he had dreams about glitches and candy and falling bricks and giant bugs. He is very into his work.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I gotta say, while we're taking this little pause, that I'm really compelled by all of this. That, first of all, I do find it interesting taking what is essentially a side character from the movie, who is barely in the movie, and really getting me invested in him. Great job, and thanks for recommending this, Xavier. Great job to the writer.
You're welcome.
I pretty much mirror those sentiments.
Mm-hmm.
I'm appreciating how short this is. Like, brevity is underappreciated in writing fanfiction sometimes.
Oh, brevity, soul of wit, baby, soul of wit. That says the man who overwrites dialogue constantly.
We are kindred spirits because I'm not gonna have a shorter chapter for my story. Yeah, read my story, by the way.
Yeah, by the way, watch my show that might not be a show, but if it's not a show, I'm just going to keep continuing publishing scripts. I really don't know what this project will become. I don't know. Fate is uncertain. That's just life in general. We're all going to die, but that's the only thing we know.
We're all gonna die, and we're all gonna pay taxes or try to avoid paying taxes. The great
Exactly.
Let's see. Where he had dreams about glitches and candy and falling bricks and giant bugs. He'd wake up in the morning and open up the arcade. Everything was quiet. All the screens were running. It was as if nothing had happened. And as he ushered the kids, kids in for the day, along with the mechanic he'd called to see if Felix's circuitry was shot, he heard a marvelous sound.
I'm gonna wreck it! Okay, everyone is Ralph.
Yes, we are all Ralph.
We're all the bad guy. But that does not mean we are bad guy.
Why is Zangief even in that meeting? He's not a villain.
Rich Moore explained that.
Yeah, because he couldn't beat the director couldn't beat Zangief when he was a kid, so we saw him as a bad guy.
Like, Zangief was his own personal bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, like, plus Zangief was like a villain in the Street Fighter 2 cartoon, so it does kind of make sense.
Yeah. Just like how Proto Man was a villain in the Mega Man cartoon.
Yeah.
Alright, in Ruby Spears' defense, if they only looked at Mega Man 5 and then beat it, you could feasibly believe that.
Yeah, I mean, in the first game, he's like an opponent. In his first appearance, he's an opponent for you. So, yeah.
So I feel like they just took that idea and ran with it to make Proto Man like a rival for Mega Man.
Yeah, I feel like they did that because they needed a character who could actually pose a threat to him.
If there's like a whole alternate timeline where Ruby Spears does a Mega Man cartoon like in 1996 instead, and Bass is actually there.
Yeah, because he was basically just Bass in that show. I love his voice in that show, though. Like, Scott McNeil carries that show. That and the show's just unintentionally hilarious. Oh no, he's gonna blast President Lincoln! I knew you'd risk yourself for Mr.
Now I've got your power.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no! Alright, Magnet Dude, give me 5! Oh no! He's stealing my powers!
Oh man, I have to give that show a watch sometime.
I wouldn't call it a good show, but it is also the most amazing show I have ever seen.
Yeah. Ruby Spears Mega Man is just hilariously bad.
It's especially the Lions, the episode with the Lions, which we dubbed that one. That dub might not be going up though.
Is that show where the Gutsman Dirt Earthing comes from?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I like that Cutman is just a bumbling idiot in that show, which kind of fits because he's the easiest robot master. But like every episode, he's always the first to get defeated, and he always gets defeated in the most embarrassing ways. There's an episode where they're riding on a giant Godzilla, like a giant prop Godzilla mech thing, or it's like a prop dinosaur. I think the episode took place on a movie set. Rush flies around and ties a hose around the feet. And you'd think Cutman would do the one thing he was meant to do and just cut the hose. He doesn't. Because Cutman's a fucking idiot. And he sounds
Savior.
like Peter Lorre in that show too.
Savior dropped.
Dead. Man.
We are cursed.
Alright, welcome to... It's the second you start talking about Ruby Spears Mega Man.
Welcome back, Savior.
Welcome back.
Yeah, like I already mentioned this before we started recording, but yeah, my internet's a bit iffy because my parents are watching Amazon Prime Video downstairs, so that's messing with the connection.
You're on some AOL shit.
Basically.
Yeah.
You're on that. Welcome back to like late 90s, early 2000s.
You know, the AOL startup sound, I've used it as ASMR for going to sleep sometimes.
AOL SMR, let's go!
I might be joking, I might not be, you don't know.
You don't know. No, but the only ASMR I listen to is videos of Wario dying.
Yeah, me too.
Wario falls down the stairs while playing Candy Crush.
What the hell?
Like, there was like an SMG4 video that basically basically runs with the Wario ASMRs.
It's so funny to me that a bunch of people have managed to put Wario in a bunch of different scenarios. Wario dies in the bombing of Hiroshima while eating spicy curry.
Why? What the hell is this a thing?
Anyway, he'd wake up in the morning and open up the arcade. Everything was quiet. All the screens were running. It was as if nothing had happened. And as he ushered the kids in for the day, along with the mechanic he'd called to see if Felix's circuitry was shot, he heard a marvelous sound. I'm gonna wreck it! And he smiled. Penelope von Schweetz was suddenly... Pardon me?
That was a very feminine-sounding Ralph.
At least I finally learned a feminine voice then. Penelope von Schweetz was suddenly a playable character on Smash Bros. I mean Sugar Rush.
Let's go. Wreck it. It would be Ralph though. I feel like it would be Ralph. Shit. Now I want to design a moveset for Ralph.
Penelope was suddenly a playable character on Sugar Rush. King Handy was gone. Ralph and Felix were back and better than ever, with a new bonus level he couldn't explain. For a few months, Mr. Litwack would ignore the sudden shouts of his head of Turbo-tastic that would linger too long. He took down a picture of him and a game in his office, placing it face down on his desk. One day, he finally sat down inside, looking at his computer. He searched through the old files of the camera footage, and even though he only kept the footage for only a couple of weeks back, he the file he could never bring himself to delete. The camera trained on Sugar Rush, the summer of 2012. He watched everything. It was a bit strange at first, but he sorted it out. He tried to connect the pieces as best as he could. He saw himself walk in, and that's when he looked at the screen rather than himself, catching the footage of a race going on. There were two cars latched together in one of the... for Pete's sake. There were two cars latched together in one of the tunnels through the Ice Cream Mountains. It looked like Vanellope and King Candy, but then Vanellope did something, and King Candy changed. Suddenly, he was Turbo. Litwack sat and watched the rest of it, mouth half open, for some time. Then the next morning, he went to work and couldn't help but find himself staring at Sugar Rush, then to Fix-It Felix Jr., then to Hero's Duty. He wasn't sure what to do. Well, he was, but he didn't want to do it. That night he locked up, same as ever, ushered the kids out, told them to get their homework done, set out the snacks and drinks for the next day, and emptied out all the quarter bins. But when he was done, he took a chair from one of the tables in the corner, picked it up, and sat it down in the middle of the center alley of the arcade, and sat down in it backwards, resting his chin on the back. There are like 5 commas in this sentence.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I was like, is it ending yet? Is it ending? The games continued to play their title screen, all except one. There, directly in front of him, was Felix and Ralph, staring right at him. They knew.
They knew. Oh, sorry. Why am I missing all my cues? Jesus.
No, it's fine.
I'm tired. I'm always tired. That's my secret cap. Alright, everyone. I'm gonna talk. Alright, everyone. I'm just gonna talk to you real quick. Then you can go on doing whatever you please. If you want to run your title screens, that's fine. But don't keep any pretenses for my sake. I know.
He paused. I have hiccups. He paused.
I've known for a while now about a lot of things, really.
The game screens continued. Oh my gosh. The game screens continued to play, but he noticed that the moves on Street Fighter II seemed sluggish and disconnected. He sighed.
I know about Turbo.
All the screens froze again. Vanellope's face froze next to him, in the middle of her victory smile.
You guys don't get to see much, but you've seen more than me. But you've seen more than me. That's for sure. I remember a day when I thought that unplugging a game was no big deal. It was standard even to unplug things. You know, to move them around. Well, you all probably seen a lot of people, a lot of your friends, go away for a long time because of it.
He paused to let it sink in. Xavier, you okay?
Yeah,
Honestly,
I'm good.
I feel like my performance is a bit weaker in this one than usual. Whatever.
I think it's fine.
I'm always my own worst critic.
He paused to let it sink in. The title screens weren't... for Pete's sake. La 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 la. The title screens weren't playing anymore. There was no sound from any of them. Even Pac-Man had nothing to say, and Pac-Man didn't speak in the movie, so that's okay.
Yep.
I can probably voice Robotnik when he pops up here.
Why is he he's Eggman, it's 2012!
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. Look, as long as we all avoid making a Snap Cube joke, we're good. Cause
even...
What?
What were you saying?
I was saying, cause, I mean, he never mind. Just keep going.
Even Pac-Man had nothing to say.
I'm so sorry.
He mumbled, looking at the chair in front of him.
I can remember being so
unsure of myself. I never wanted to unplug Turbo Time. Turbo was one of my first games. He's the reason you're all here, together. Say what you want, but he could pull in quarters.
He laughed, recalling the old days.
But I was there that night, wondering what happened, and I saw the footage later.
A murmur went up around the games. Someone said he was pretty sure it was Dr. Robotnik.
I told you those cameras wouldn't reflect off the screens, you fools!
I have 7. Never mind. I get so tempted. Just summon. We should have just summoned Alfred Coleman to do that one line.
If I could get celebrity guests, I would.
Alfred Coleman. Fucking Alfred Dr. Eggman Coleman. With the GameCube too.
I think you also have the next line. Wait, actually. Yeah, that's the next line. That's
I just want you all to know that I'll never let anything happen to you again. I'll never let anything like that happen to you. And I'll try to find someone to fix it.
Okay, who wants to do Ralph?
I'll do it. No offense,
right.
sir.
Mr. Litwack looked up, and for Pete's sake. Mr. Litwack looked up and saw Ralph had shifted from his game to Sugar Rush. Vanellope was sitting on his shoulder, watching the old man.
You've done a great job here, mister, but we've got the best mechanic in here. He's always cleaning up my messes.
He pointed to Fix-It Felix Jr. and smiled.
So just keep on doing your thing, and we'll do ours. And make sure to never get little tappers!
Someone yelled, and a chorus of laughs came around. He gets unplugged? Where's the riot?
Go on, Mario. Yep, Mario's in there. There's Mario.
I like the idea of Mario being like, I need some fucking drinks. Well, to be fair, he's been in Scrappy's fanfics for a while. I understand Mario.
Yep, if the movie couldn't fit him in, so the fanfiction's doing it.
Yeah, dude. That's it. This is just gonna be Tanner mercilessly bullies Scrappy, the episode.
So another episode then.
Yeah, just it's so story time with Scrappy.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, if he gets unplugged, that's alright.
Go on strike!
It's hard enough around here as is.
You get your head crushed between Zangief's thighs and tell me you don't want a cold one after that.
Or
Yeah,
get incredibly aroused.
I'm wondering which Street Fighter character is saying that. Mr. Litwack smiled and stood, taking the chair back to the table and straightening it.
Mr. Okay. Sorry. Cues. I missed my cues.
Well, I'm glad we had this talk.
He said, and he pulled on his coat.
I'll be here tomorrow morning, so expect everyone in.
He turned around and realized all the machines were back in start screens, totally oblivious.
Positions.
He finished, closing the door behind him. If Stanley D. Litwack knew what he was getting into when he bought his first arcade machine in 1977, he honestly couldn't say whether he would have done anything differently. Except that he would have put Sugar Rush next to Fix-It Felix Jr. to save Ralph a bit of a trip.
Aww.
The end.
That was really touching. That was really sweet. That was cute. That was very cute. Whoever did this good, it's good. You made me go aww.
Yeah.
I like the idea that this is basically what if the Toy Story movies were done from Andy's point of view.
Yeah, I do like this. I imagine what happened and why this was written so recently is I'm already imagining what happened was the writer was just watching the movie and then thought to themselves, wait, holy shit, I've got an idea. Because that's the only way I can imagine it arising, is them thinking, but what if he knew? And then just fleshing out the concept from there.
Yep, that's like Wreck-It Ralph's already kind of a high concept. Some would call it a Pixar concept, and then this is just like building off of that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And once again, props to them for being able to make this really compelling character out of a side character who, in the actual movie, just has one funny line about his nana.
Yeah.
Again, hopefully I did well. You'll notice his voice kept changing because I forgot what he sounded like and kept being uncertain. I'm a fantastic actor. Jesus fucking Christ.
Look, if the audience could deal with my Lucina voice in episode 4 fluctuating between not Laura Bailey to not even a human, then you'll be fine.
Dude, though, I just listened to Laura Bailey, and she has one of those voices that's just instantly soothing to me. Laura Bailey, if you're watching this, my phone number is...
Redacted.
Yeah. Name and address withheld. But no. I always chose her voice options whenever I play Saints Row. But no, I thought this was really good. And honestly, like honestly, I can see this working tonally. Not only does it work as its own story, but I feel it just works tonally with what Wreck-It Ralph was.
Yep.
Yeah, because like it still definitely helps that this was written right around when the movie actually came out, so it was still fresh in everyone's minds.
No, I'm really down with this. I'm gonna go get a drink and go eat some food, and by food I mean Little Caesars, whatever you can consider that. Okay, so if we ever start monetizing, we know we're never getting sponsored by Little Caesars because of me.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You don't give up hope. For some reason, Sega sponsors Egoraptor, despite the fact that he badmouthed Sonic Adventure a few times.
No. Here's the thing. Egoraptor was entertaining. Aaron isn't.
Fair enough.
I can't watch modern game. I hope the stream's not on, because we promised not to talk shit about YouTubers.
Stream is on, Tanner.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go get my food and water, and I also need to plug in my computer. Are we doing the second chapter or no?
I think we can do the second chapter.
Okay.
So, Harry, what did you think of it?
I was talking this whole time and I didn't realize I still had my mic muted. Good. But no,
Oh dear.
I pretty much mirror all you guys. Like, it was a really, really well done story. I like how grounded it felt, and it felt like it could exist in the universe. And like Xavier was saying, it helps that it came out shortly after the movie released. And yeah, I liked it. It was good. It's also just nice how you know, like how this character that Tanner's been saying, how like this character that's basically just in the background actually has more relevance in this story, and it's the concept of him like knowing about the the arcade cabinets basically being alive is just inherently fascinating, and I think the author did a really good job doing that.
I'm back, by the way.
Oh, hi.
We didn't know you left.
Okay, like my final thoughts on this. I think like I think I'm probably gonna sound like a broken record repeating what everyone else has said about this, but like this was definitely like a really good fan fiction. That brings like a very minor character into light, because like we already mentioned, this basically does for Wreck-It Ralph what like that like Toy Story, but from Andy's perspective.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely liked this story, and like I definitely like the story still held up, and I even like recently looked it up before we did this session, only to discover that the author made a bonus chapter. I'm like, wait, when did this happen?
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we gonna do the next chapter?
Or... I mean, we could save that for another episode. Besides, like, the bonus chapter isn't really that long, anyways.
Oh, how long is it?
It's pretty short.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Okay.
It's a pretty short one. But
I guess I guess it's up to you guys if you want to do that now or not. Then.
Yeah, but aside from this one, like I already meant, aside from this one, the only other Wreck-It Ralph fan fiction that I actually remember reading a bit of, but not actually finishing, was one that's kind of like a shipping fic between Ralph and like an older Vanellope that I stated back at the beginning.
Yeah.
We're basically, the premise is Sugar Rush gets upgraded, the characters get new designs, so Vanellope looks older, and that now leads to some complicated feelings between her and Ralph, and they just play off on that.
Yeah, that's not gonna be problematic at all.
I feel like I might have read what you're talking about. I don't remember what it was called or anything, but that sounds familiar to me.
Honestly, that's like the issue of like a Roger Rabbit universe where like Roger stays an adult forever, but then like what happens to the Toons who are kids? Do they just stay kids forever?
Yeah. Oh god.
Like taking, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z into consideration, if all the cartoon characters are actors, then does Gohan age, or are they just different actors for each stage of his life?
Yeah.
Like that in itself could be a interesting, if possibly dark premise.
Yeah.
For the story.
That would be interesting.
Maybe I should do a Roger Rabbit fanfiction, but that would actually require something I don't normally do: long-term planning.
Oh, I remember like when like me and Xavier tried writing a massive fanfic, and then we just just stopped.
Oh, I remember. I definitely remember that. I was actually thinking of bringing it up during this at some point.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember like the last thing that we ended up doing was adding Pac-Man into it.
Yeah, that's the last. Yeah, that's the last thing
like,
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, as well as teasing Ness and Lucas, but that was about it.
Yeah, like I remember like we had like a bunch of like random plans for the story.
Yeah, we had so many things planned for it, but life got in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, life got in the way. Other things started taking up our time, so we didn't really have we never really had the time to keep on working on it, so we just quietly canceled it.
Yeah, it's also the fact that we started losing interest in MLP, so we didn't really feel as compelled to continue it after that.
Oh yeah, I stuck through since season 4. Stuck through. I hate every minute of it. I hate it here, but I can't say I don't like the show. Can't even pretend I don't like the show, as much as I hate to admit that I like the show.
I mean,
don't even cook the little goddamn pizza. Fuck Little Caesars. Just no prompting at this point.
Lordy.
But no. MLP's... Look, the first thing I can tell you as someone who likes MLP is that MLP is fucking dumb.
I mean, most toy franchises are by their nature.
Yeah.
It's very cheesy, which you expect from a show called Friendship is Magic.
Yeah.
But it's charming, I feel, in its cheesiness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I definitely enjoyed it back in its prime.
Yeah. It's still a good show now, but
yeah.
And like I have a lot to thank for it. Like
Yeah.
It's
still a good show, but other shows that came out following the years just kind of took our attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. The fact that it got me back into animation in general is something I have to thank for it. So.
I think it's because at the time it was out, it was still in that weird period where cartoons were starting to get good again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They never stop. So let's not say anything we'll regret.
Alright.
Well,
there was definitely that weird period where, we had stuff like My Gym Partner's a Monkey and such. And... I'd say that then you get shows like Gravity Falls, which exceeded what Friendship is Magic was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, I still like Friendship is Magic. Friendship is Magic is actually more interesting to talk about than most shows, because with a show like Gravity Falls or, say, Avatar, it's like nearly every episode is good, so there's not much to talk about. With MLP, it's such a roulette wheel of quality.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Because there are some really bad episodes of that show,
Mm-hmm.
but that makes it more interesting to talk about for me. Also, MLP has the appeal of Kingdom Hearts for me, where even if you like it, it's really goddamn fun to make fun of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree to this as a Kingdom Hearts fan, so, you know.
Pony is, and I mean, they both do the fucking friendship thing.
Right.
I'd say, though, fuck, make an MLP season tier list. That'd be fun. I'm gonna do that.
Good luck with that. I barely even remember which episodes were in which season.
No, I'm not gonna do tier list as in specific episodes. No way. The show has
fair
9 goddamn seasons.
Oh, fair enough.
There's no way to do with that.
Yeah, that's...
But,
I mean, I believe like I actually kind of stopped watching MLP after like the season where like the school was built and we kind of got like a new main 6 cast.
Yeah.
I want I wanted to keep watching it, but like yeah, other shows took up my interest and I just kind of stopped watching the show.
The Student 6 and the Friendship School, I don't dislike it, and I don't like it either. I am completely indifferent towards it.
Yeah.
I just don't know why it exists.
Yeah, I felt like by the end of it, I was kind of just continuing to watch it out of obligation. And to this day, I still haven't watched season 9, and I don't know if I ever will.
9 has a lot of good episodes, I'll be honest. I like a lot of 9's episodes. Honestly, the best new addition to the show are the Starlight and Trixie episodes. I really like those.
Yeah, Starlight was a great new character in my opinion.
Yeah, she was. I'll admit her redemption arc is a little. But
yeah.
That's because I have a very personal thing where I am. Look, okay, I'm not a fan of. Redemption arcs are very hard because there are certain redemption arcs, and MLP does it too, a lot, but they've gotten better with it.
Yeah, the MLP is filled with redemption arcs.
Yeah, but the problem is a lot of it is, oh, you did really, really horrible shit, but it's okay, and it's like, no!
Yeah.
I think I think that the best redemption arc in the entire franchise was Sunset Shimmer. She's probably my favorite character in the entire franchise.
I think.
Harry, can you stop murdering the live animals, please?
I need food. Yeah, I think Starlight and Sunset, I think, are the best overall written characters. Like, they feel the most three-dimensional to me.
Yeah, out of all the redeemed characters, my issue with Discord, and, like, Discord's funny and entertaining, but I don't like how his redemption arc's handled, because he never truly felt redeemed to me. Because he went from being... Because, like, even though he's redeemed, he's still a massive prick, and it never feels like... And he only ever really feels bad about it when people get mad at him. So it doesn't feel like he actually wants to be a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that MLP as a show is just, it's super hit or miss every single episode.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I'd love to do a season tier list. Not tier list based on episodes, but just ranking all the seasons. Wait, that wouldn't work because it'd only be one entry for... No! I have multiple entries, like... Season 3 would be its own tier of I don't fucking know, because it was barely even a season.
Yeah.
Yeah, Season 3's weird.
Season 3 just kind of happened.
Yeah, it has some good stuff in it from what I remember, but...
Yeah.
But it barely even felt like a season.
Yeah.
I will say
I still remember the one takeaway being the fact that, like, the Twilight becoming an alicorn thing had actually premiered on my birthday of the...
Oh.
Yeah. No, okay, Season 3, what I remember, everyone was really divided when that finale came out.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
To which... I totally get... Okay, let's see. If I'm gonna do a quick run through. Season 1, good, but it was clearly not aware of its periphery demographic. Am I saying that word right?
Periphery.
Yeah.
Demographic, and because of that, you can notice the writing is significantly less good, because it was still mostly just a baby show, which it's always a baby show, but
yeah.
But it's especially noticeable in Season 1.
Yeah.
Though there are some decent episodes. I like Feeling Pinky Teen just from a comedy perspective. That episode's really funny. It has my favorite gag ever, which is the bit where Twilight gets progressively heavier things dropped on top of her.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where it all just... It's like... I think it starts with a flower pot, then it's like a safe, then it's a... Then... I forget what the exact gag is, and it's frustrating me, because it always makes me laugh really hard.
I think it ends with a piano.
Yeah, it ends with piano. Honestly, some of my favorite episodes of NLP are just the ones that are really weird, crazy comedic ones. Those wound up being some of my favorites. Because...
A few of the episodes that I remember, because I can remember off the top of my head, is the one with Cheese Sandwich, aka Weird Al Pony.
Oh yeah.
Season 4, best.
Yeah. And as well as that one time loop episode where like future Twilight tries
like future solid snake looking ass.
Like future Twilight tries to tell her past self about something that's about a seeming disaster, but actually it turns out nope, it was. But like they're saying, nope, you're going to overthink this. Don't worry about it. That's the whole joke.
I think
I remember about feeling the cheese sandwich one is that I came home from a English trip at the time, and me and pretty much all my friends were like freaking out over this woman in black play, and we were like like really scared and stuff. So and it was like in the middle of the night, so I literally had to rewatch the episode just to calm myself down.
It's a good episode. Also, you're yeah, it is a good episode. Probably one of my favorites. That's what I'm gonna do. Season 1, pretty good. Has some standouts. But definitely noticeable that it's still a baby show, except for some episodes. Like Lesson 0, the one where Twilight has a mental breakdown.
That one's great.
Yeah. I almost forgot about that one.
Hi, girls. Let's see. Season 2 was definitely a drastic improvement. You could tell that they were much more acknowledging of, okay, we've got grown men watching this for some reason. I don't know how this happened, but okay. And so the writing's a bit better in Season 2, and there's a lot of really fun episodes in that season. It also introduced, it also has probably the most solid finale. Actually, no, the premiere is really good, is what I was thinking of. It has a really solid premiere. Where Q from Star Trek basically fucks with him for 2 parts.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Lots of solid episodes. Couple duds, but Season 2 is generally really good. This is the most autistic thing I've ever talked about. Okay?
I don't know why we're talking about MLP right now.
This is welcome to the MLP podcast. Scrappy is just like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Is podcast even still going on?
Yeah, well, I'm still streaming this. I don't know why we went on this.
We were supposed to read the bonus chapter.
All right.
Oh, you guys wanted to do that? Oh, you guys wanted to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we could do that.
Fair enough.
Welcome to the MLP podcast.
I don't even know what is going on.
I'm just gonna conclude this by saying I'm probably not gonna watch Pony Life.
Oh, that thing. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
I want to from this goddamn franchise. I want to be able to have sex with a woman again.
Yeah, I might watch season 9 at some point, but after that I think I'm done from ponies. I don't think I'm gonna... Huh?
9 has some pretty good episodes.
Yeah, just for finale's sake, but after that I think I'm just done with MLP.
The finale was really good. I really liked the finale, especially after the 2-parter, that little epilogue thing they did. That was really solid. Also, it confirms that Pinkie Pie canonically fucks.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen like the last few scenes.
She gets 0 out of 10. The fact that anyone other than me got to have sex with Weird Al is upsetting.
That is a statement.
Yeah. No, she fucks. And then Weird Al signed an autograph with a picture of Cheese and Pinky together, just titled, "I stole your waifu."
Oh no.
Nice.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Anyway, bonus chapter.
Let's go.
Let's go and try and wash my mind of what I just heard.
It's real. That happens. Pinkie Pie fucks. I like
la 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 la.
That's the new trend. The comic relief character is the one who fucks.
Okay, bonus chapter. Achievement earned. 200 reviews. Bonus level unlocked.
Very funny. I get it. I have also played video games.
Dark and stormy nights may have been cliche, but this one was starting to actually shift into the realm of frightening. The lights flickered, and the game characters held their breath as they hurried through the central station. The usual PSA of Sonic repeating it, for Pete's sake, repeating the dangers of dying. Pardon me?
You're repeating yourself.
Yeah, I know. The usual PSA of Sonic repeating the dangers of dying outside one's game had been replaced with bright red backgrounds holding flashing exclamation points. It's the Metal Gear symbol. Everyone go home. It was dangerous to be out. Ralph parted with Vanellope in Game Central Station, both of them hugging each other, while silently turning their backs on Felix and Calhoun, giving them some privacy while they said their goodbyes. Surge Protector was circling the game, scribbling on his clipboard like mad. For the first time in a long time, it was the middle of the night and the power strip was empty. Oh gosh. You know, I've got the scratchiness of Vanellope, but I do not have the youthful energy at 23.
Do you want me to be Vanellope?
Yeah, just do your Bowser Jr. voice, but then pretend you've been kicked in the groin.
Ralph, I'm Sarah fucking Silverman.
Once more clarity.
Ralph, I'm scared.
Vanellope whispered, biting her lip.
What if I forget you? What if my glitching goes away?
She asked, her body turning to blue code as she worried. The large man couldn't soothe her fears because he didn't know the answer. All he could do was hope for the best.
It'll be alright, kiddo.
Maybe the power wouldn't go out. It had only happened once. In the blackout of '86 that lasted 2 whole days, Turbo was furious for missing all the racing he could have done. All Ralph remembered was that some games were different than others. Some remembered and some didn't. Dig Dug was still swearing he got plugged in right after the blackout. Alright, as a nerd, let me point out that Dig Dug's name is not actually Dig Dug, it is Taizo Hori.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, one of the only few. Like I thought I was one of the only 2 people who actually knows the Dig Dug lore.
The Dig Dug expanded universe.
There is a Dig Dug expanded universe. Like you had to play Mr. Driller and Namco Cross Capcom to learn it all.
Yeah, like I ended up finding out about the expanded universe from playing Dig Dug Digging Shark on the DS.
I can't even make fun of you guys because I was just talking. I spent an entire 10 minutes talking about My Little Pony. I can't even make fun of you guys.
Dig Dug. What?
I sold my soul to those fucking horses.
You want to rephrase that?
I sold my soul to those horses. Leave out that last part. I didn't fuck them.
But the horses were certainly doing it.
I mean, depending on certain people you ask. There's an audience for that. It's weird. It's always the least sexual things that wind up getting the most sexualized.
Yeah, we are. Humans are naughty people.
Yeah. Yep. Dude, no, I've realized my edgiest jokes come out when I talk about ponies.
Seriously, we're reading a nice fan fiction about a family-friendly Disney movie, and we can't even keep ourselves contained. Like this is.
That would be crazy if I just hit you guys with a pony fanfic one day. That would be crazy.
Oh gosh.
But here's the secret. It's written by me, and it's written how I usually write things.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Anyway. And we thought this would be a short episode.
This is welcome to.
Yeah, this just turned into a whole tangent of itself.
Yeah.
You could divide divide this one into 2 parts. Make the first part the Wreck-It Ralph thing, and then just put My Little Pony podcast featuring Wreck-It Ralph fanfiction.
We are sorry, Harry.
It's fine.
You guys have. Oh, this is gonna destroy me. This is gonna destroy me. I willingly chose to talk about this. To talk about ponies, and I was gonna put that part of my life behind me. It's a past I don't want to unearth. This is my character arc.
Oh, lordy.
Oh, gosh. Dig Dug was still swearing he got plugged in right after the blackout. As they retreated to their home, to their respective games, Felix and Ralph gave a final wave to their female counterparts in unison before they climbed about the Fix-It Felix Jr. train in silence. Their trip back home was short, and when they arrived, they made short work of getting to their post. Ralph climbed the outside of the building while Felix took the elevator. They joined the others on the roof. Ralph took a moment to feel scared for Cubert. If the game shut off, all their friends would die. Looks good to me, Felix said as he took a standing position on Ralph's shoulder with a pair of pixelated binoculars. Hit with his hammer a few times. Oh my gosh. Hit with his hammer a few times to give them some drastic improvement. Ralph held out a hand to... Oh my gosh. La 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 la. Ralph held out a hand to take them, handling them with care so Felix wouldn't have to waste time fixing them up again. With a hold on them that only needed 2 fingers, the larger man took a... Oh my gosh. With a hold on them that only needed 2 fingers, the larger man took a look of his own. Felix was right. The sign on the building across the street was still lit, proclaiming something having to do with filing taxes, whatever those were. This was their beacon of warning. Sometimes the light went out before the arcade went down, and the pause gave everyone time to brace themselves. The lights started flickering, and the power strip started to fail. But then a pair of bright headlights suddenly swamped Ralph's vision, and he yelled in both pain and surprise as he dropped the binoculars. They hit the edge of the building and tumbled down, shattering on the ground 12 stories below. Felix winced. "What's wrong, brother?" But the door to the arcade was unlocked and opened, scaring the games as the wind and rain blew in. Lightning illuminated a shadowy figure as the door closed, and the figure hurried away so the door could slam behind them. All the arcade games were unsure of what to do, but it didn't matter. The figure hefted something heavy in their arms and grunted from the effort, turning away from the blinking screen. As they watched in silence, the darkened figure rushed to the back room labeled "Employees Only." The swinging door closed behind them, and the games were left in awe and confusion.
What was that?
Ralph muttered, but he looked out across the street again and noticed the tiny red light was blinking erratically.
The sign!
He yelled, and Felix was already busy climbing down the building to get what was left of the binoculars. Ralph ran his hands through his hair and looked over to Sugar Rush, where Vanellope's hand was placed on the screen, her lip wobbling. The poor kid was terrified. Felix returned, and Ralph held him up so he could see. "Oh my land, the sign's going out!" he yelled, and a low babble rose up in the arcade, characters panicking, saying goodbye to each other, even pleading with the electricity to stay on, as if it was the figure that could be reasoned with. The lights began to flicker. Ralph gulped and Felix lowered his binoculars, hopping down to stand next to his friend and brother. The wrecker looked down at him and gave him a weak smile, then looked up to see Vanellope. She was hugging Taffeta. Taffeta. I can't pronounce her name. She was hugging Taffeta, who was sobbing uncontrollably. She looked up at Ralph and bit her lip as everyone's screens began to flicker as well, the power strip sputtering to maintain its charge. The lights went out. But as Ralph closed his eyes, waiting for the game to die, The power flickered for half a second before it came on again. Lights dim but functional. The game's still running as they were before. Everyone mumbled in confusion, and Felix donned the binoculars again, looking across the street. The sign's out! Oh gosh. The sign's out, he confirmed before looking to Ralph, an unspoken question passing between them. Why was their power still on? That was when the figure that had stormed in exited the black room. The coat and hood that had shadowed his face was off, and they saw it was Mr. Litwack, looking rather awkward in a pair of slippers, pajama pants, and a black bathrobe. He looked around and stood with his hands on his hips, sighing as he looked around. The game stayed quiet.
Weatherman said the storm wouldn't hit till tomorrow afternoon.
He huffed.
Brought the generator last week, Mr. Wabbit. Got the generator last week, oh
Thank you, Dr. Light.
About the generator last week, what, Mega Man? It's the stutter in that line that always makes me laugh. I'm gonna take off my headphones. That'll make it easier to voice act. Bought the generator last week and got all the work done on it. Jesus Christ, I cannot speak. I was gonna hook it up in the morning.
Everyone still kept quiet, though, and Mr. Litwack seemed okay with that, nodding to himself and pulling his coat on.
It's for the best, anyway. Power's out all over town. If this keeps up, we'll have tons of customers tomorrow. Get some rest, everyone.
And like that, he left. And there was an awkward silence as he locked the door behind him, braved the weather, climbed into his car, and puttered off again.
Cappers?
Ralph muttered to Felix, and his smaller counterpart nodded. Oh yeah. And as everyone piled into the game to drink to their life being prolonged another day, a cheer went up to Mr. Litwack, who had saved them once again. End chapter.
Not much to talk about this time, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that where I was going, for sure.
Yeah, it's a nice bonus chapter.
Yeah.
I like the idea of... First of all, can I just say your Jack McBrayer is really good, Scrappy?
Really now? Thank you, but... Like, I was slipping into my Iggy Koopa voice, and I was like, no, he's not that high-pitched.
No, what we can do now, what we need to do is do a dub of do a reading. I'll try to script out that episode of Eric Andre that he was on.
Oh no.
You know, they say it's gray, it's healthy for you. Nobody has ever said that.
Oh gosh.
No, but I like Jack McBrayer. He's an adorable man. No. Solid chapter, yeah.
Yeah, there's a little, like, it's got, like, that kind of just general, what's the word? It's got, like, the backup comic of a Disney Adventure magazine quality to it, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, like, it's...
Yeah.
That actually, that... I didn't think of it that way, but that makes sense. It feels like a bonus feature you'd see on a DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year.
Thank you.
And I like this weird... I want to see more exploring this dynamic between the game characters and Mr. Litwack.
Yeah, I want to see more of this now, because it's a really interesting concept.
Local man gets arcade cabinet dead or alive. Hilarity ensues.
Oh god.
That's where it goes. And then he notices that all of the game characters are outside of their game, and they're all just watching the volleyball matches. No, that's actually just the test to see, like,
That would be an interesting test because you could see which one of them you could figure out all of their sexualities.
Yeah, I guess.
So I enjoyed the chapter.
Yeah, I enjoyed the chapter. I
Yeah.
really did. There's some really. It's weird, we don't see much, but what we do see, it definitely has a solid understanding of these characters and their voices.
Yeah.
I like Dig Dug just being like, I know exactly when the power came back on. Like,
Yeah. Of course you would. Also, for you guys complaining about, talking about getting lore wrong, I get it, but to be fair, in complete fairness, that kind of stays accurate to the movie, because the movie gets lore wrong, too, about certain games.
Fair
I'm
enough.
not I'm the only guy who actually cares about Taizo not being called Taizo. Like, that's such a that's a nitpick on my part.
That's
Yeah.
oh guys, you guys are such fucking nerds. And then it cuts to just a minute ago me ranking all the seasons in MLP.
Like if Smash Brothers had Dig Dug, he'd be called Dig Dug.
Yeah, probably.
But wait, I have to say, for some reason you mentioning fighting games just made me realize this meme that I found. Can I just send this? Because it always makes me... It killed me the first time I found it. You know when Tucker Carlson was trying to call out Hollywood celebrities for being liberals, which is something literally everyone already knew?
So what happened?
He made a list, but here's the thing, he's like outing them for supporting Black Lives Matter. I don't know why you would get mad at someone for not being racist enough. It sounds like he's saying, like, how dare you? And I'm like, well, first of all, you're lumping in the opportunistic criminals with looters, with the genuine protesters, and you know for a fact they're not the same people. There's no way the people burning shit down are also the people protesting. But here's the meme I found. I love this, and it's true.
Hi kids, today is the post-protest special episode of Storytime with Scrappy.
Oh, I forgot our mics were still on! Oh no! Well, what controversial thing am I saying here? I'm saying that racism is bad. What am I really saying that's controversial?
You'd be surprised who takes offense to that.
Other than racist?
Alright, let me mute. Is it time to end the episode, or does anyone have any final thoughts?
I think we should end the episode while we still can.
Just end by saying, Tucker Carlson, you're a fucking jackass. he is though.
Okay. Okay.
So we thank you all for joining us for today's episode, and we thank you, Kadavatar, for your story. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was. This might be my favorite one we've done so far.
Yeah, very much approved of this.
Yeah. Alright, but here, I'm gonna send this and...
Okay, am I free to stop now?
Yeah,
Alright.
I already sent it.
Alright, the cameras are off. We can talk trash again.